Welcome to Stormwater Drainage Solutions. In this video, we're going to be building an experimental drainage catch basin. So what I mean by that is we're going to be replacing this round 12 by 12 catch basin with a 24 by 24 inch square catch basin because we need a larger area in order to do this experiment. What we're going to be doing is placing a camera in this distribution box / catch basin to be able to capture rain events and storms in action. So this catch basin acts as a distribution box and is one of the main ones for this system. It has two 6-inch main lines that run through it and one 4-inch lateral that also dumps into it. This catch basin is also centralized in the lowest point of the yard, so it collects the most surface water. So what we're going to do is start off by moving the stone out of the way. We're going to move the woven geotextile fabric, dig this box out, and cut it out. Now, once we have that accomplished, the next step is going to be digging this hole out and setting up our new 24 by 24 inch box. So this 24 by 24 inch box that we have here is actually going to be repurposed. This is a box that came off of a job site that was no longer needed. So in order to repurpose it, we need to close in the large 12-inch holes that are on either side of it and on the bottom. So what we're going to be using to do that is PVC board. So PVC board, obviously it's made out of PVC, polyvinyl chloride, so it should hold up relatively well in the ground. It's waterproof and it will hold the dirt back. Now, the way we're going to do this is cut it to fit, and then we're just going to use some tap screws to hold it in place. Because the final way we are going to outfit this box, as you will see towards the end of the video, is we're actually going to be filling most of the void in this box up, because we do not need the depth of this box. What we need is the width of it, because it is large enough to be able to fit that camera so the camera can capture what is happening with both 6-inch main lines as well as that 4-inch lateral. So the next step is going to be drilling our two 6-inch holes and then our 4-inch lateral hole. Now we need to make sure that we have these at the proper height so that everything lines up perfectly. We're going to use 6-inch cup links and a 4-inch cup link onto our corrugated main lines and our corrugated lateral line. We're going to go ahead and tile tape those up very well. And then we are just going to use some dual wall extensions to be able to extend those in to our 24 by 24 inch box. As you can see here, we have everything lined up. We're kind of testing it, making sure that we don't need to dig lower or add dirt back and tamp it down before we begin. So we have everything set up now. We have everything in place the way we want it, and we have our dual wall extensions into the basin. Cameras are being used in wastewater management plants in different areas, in different municipalities, to keep an eye on the sanitary systems and function of different things. That way a backup can be seen before it causes major problems. So my idea here is, why not bring it and scale it down for yard drainage applications using it on certain things. So this is going to basically be an experiment to see how it works over time and how it functions. So as you can see, we're packing in the catch basin around it. You want to make sure that you do this no matter what size the catch basin is that you're installing. You always want to get soil and pack it in very well and settle it with water around your basin. Because if you don't do this, after the first couple of rains, it will settle and you will have small sinkholes that will open up as that dirt travels down and fills voids that weren't initially filled. So right now we're just running water through the system, testing it out. But as I already stated, we're going to be filling in the majority of this void here. We're not going to be utilizing the whole entire bottom of this catch basin. So the first thing we're going to do is dump pea stone down into this basin to fill up the majority of that bottom. Once we have the pea stone dumped in there at the amount that we want, we're going to move that pea stone around and create kind of a rough form of what the final look is going to be. Because ultimately we are going to be putting concrete at the bottom here. So once we have that pea stone formed up, we'll pack that down really well so that it's all settled and packed in there. And then we're going to mix concrete and begin to pour the concrete into the bottom of the basin. So we'll just use a mixer and an old spare tote that I had laying around. We mix the concrete up, and we're going to go ahead and put the concrete down in there. And then the final step will be forming that concrete. And basically this is called benching. So it's typically done in manholes, but you can do it in smaller applications as well. And it's called manhole benching. So that's when you put the concrete or mortar down at the bottom of the manhole and you form channels for that water to travel through. So you have a main line that is responsible for handling all that water, and your lateral or additional main line that's dumping into that box, you want that water to be directed towards the main line that's responsible for carrying that water out. So that's what essentially these channels are going to be for. The next day we went ahead and worked on putting the electrical conduit underneath the stone and the ground here, and we ran it from the house over to our new basin. I didn't film this process at all. We just went ahead and just got it done. On the very end of the solid electrical conduit, we did change over to a flexible electrical conduit just to make it a little bit easier to do that turn, so we didn't have to use a bunch of electrical conduit fittings to do this. But basically the conduit is to run the wire that supplies the power to the camera. So this camera is going to be plugged in to the outlet that's on the house. The camera itself is going to connect to the home's Wi-Fi, and then I can just access the camera image through my phone. So the idea is to connect it to this side of the basin so we have a visual of both 6-inch main lines and then the 4-inch lateral that also dumps into here. And yes, I'm using the Ryobi drill with the hole saw to make the hole here for the electrical conduit. The Ryobi was the closest thing I had. I didn't feel like opening the trailer to get the DeWalt or the rigid out, and I didn't feel like going to my truck to get the Milwaukee. So went ahead and just used the Ryobi. Doesn't really matter as long as it gets it done. So went ahead and just put some tile tape around the end of this conduit just to help seal it in there so dirt and debris can't make its way through there. Put a bunch around there just to make a nice seal, and we'll go ahead and we'll run the wire through this conduit now and then get the camera mounted. To be able to get our wire through our electrical conduit, we're going to be using what is called a fish tape. So this basically is a long metal coil that you are going to feed through one side of your electrical conduit all the way to the other side. Once it pops out through the other side, you then take your wire and you tape it onto this fishing cable. And once it's taped on there and you have it secure, you're going to then slowly pull your fish tape back, and that is going to pull the wire through the electrical conduit line. Now you can also use this fish tape if you're trying to fish a wire through, let's say, a wall or through a tight space in an attic. There's a lot of different applications you can use this fish tape for. So we have our power line going through our electrical conduit, and we went ahead and we hooked it up to the camera, and we are running additional water through the system, just kind of checking it out and testing it. Obviously the concrete's all hardened up because this is the following day. And let's go ahead and let's test the camera out and see what the camera looks like. We are going to go ahead and add a piece of screen over the grate to our catch basin. And the reason for this is because the inlets are so big, they allow the stone to fall through, and we don't want to have to keep cleaning stone out of the basin. So a piece of screen should solve this issue. Now, if we like the results that we get from this camera experiment, we are going to see if there's ways to utilize this in our yard drainage systems. Now, I'm not sure if we could utilize this in sump pump basins, maybe to keep an eye on the pump, because I know depending on how heavy the rainstorm is, that sump pump basin could get maxed out with water, and then the camera essentially would be submerged in water. So then it would have to be a waterproof camera, like 100% waterproof camera. So we're going to see what we could possibly utilize the camera for in residential storm drainage. So we'll see what happens with this experiment. But if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. It really supports us. It supports what we do. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you need yard drainage in the Tampa Bay area, whether it's downspout drains, French drains, channel drains, sump pump systems, give Stormwater Drainage Solutions a call at 813-614-3456. We can come out there, assess the situation, and design a system that fits your needs. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.